The Heart of a Monkey. A long time ago, a little town made up a collection of low huts stood in a tiny green valley at the foot of a cliff. Of course, the people had taken great care to build their houses out of reach of the highest tide, which might have driven on shore by the west wind. But on the very edge of the town there had sprung up a tree so large that half its boughs hung over the huts, and the other half over the deep sea right under the cliff, where sharks loved to come and splash in the clear water. The branches of the tree itself were laden with fruit, and every day at sunrise a big gray monkey might have been seen on the topmost branches having his breakfast, and chattering to himself with delight. After he had eaten all the fruit on the town side of the tree, the monkey swung himself along the branches to the part which hung over the water. While he was looking out for the nice shady place where he might perch comfortably, he noticed a shark watching him from below with greedy eyes. "Can I do anything for you, my friend?" asked the monkey politely. "Oh, if you would throw me down some of those delicious things, I would be so grateful," answered the shark. "After you've lived on fish for 50 years, you begin to feel you'd like a change. And I'm so very, very tired of the taste of salt." "Well, I don't like salt myself," said the monkey. "So if you open your mouth, I will throw this beautiful juicy curio into it." And as he spoke, he pulled one off the branch just above his head. But it was not so easy to hit the shark's mouth as he had supposed, even when the creature had turned on his back, and the first curio only struck one of his teeth and rolled into the water. However, the second time the monkey had better luck, and the fruit fell right in. "Oh, how good!" cried the shark. "Send me another, please." And the monkey grew tired of picking the curios long before the shark was tired of eating them. "It is getting late, and I must be getting home to my children," he said at length. "But if you are here at the same time tomorrow, I will give you another treat." Thank you, said the shark, showing all his great ugly teeth as he grinned with delight. "You can't guess how happy you have made me." And he swam away into the shadow, hoping to sleep away until the time the monkey came again. For a few weeks, the shark and the monkey breakfasted together, and it was such a wonder that the tree had any fruit left for them. They became fast friends and told each other about their homes and their children, and how to teach them how they thought they ought to know. By and by, the monkey became rather discontented with his green house and the grove of palms beyond the town, and longed to see the strange things under the sea which he had heard from the shark. The shark perceived this very clearly, and described greater marvels. The monkey had listened, and grew more and more gloomy. Matters were in this state when one day the shark said, "I really hardly know how to thank you for all your kindness to me during these weeks. Here I have nothing of my own to offer you, but if you would only consent to come home with me, how gladly I would give you anything that might happen to take your fancy." "I should like nothing better," cried the monkey, his teeth chattering, as they always did when he was pleased. "But how can I get there? Not by water. It makes me ill to think of it." "Oh, don't let that trouble you," replied the shark. "You only have to sit on my back, and I will undertake that not a drop of water will touch you." So it was arranged. Directly after breakfast the next morning, the shark swam close up under the tree, and the monkey dropped neatly on his back, without even a splash. After a few minutes, for at first he felt a little frightened for the strange position, the monkey began to enjoy himself vastly, asked the shark 1,000 questions about the fish and the seaweeds and the oddly shaped things that floated past them, and as the shark always gave him some sort of answer, the monkey never guessed that many of the objects he saw were new to his guide as himself. The sun had risen and set 6 times when the shark suddenly said, "My friend, we have now performed half our journey, and it is time I should tell you something." "What is it?" asked the monkey. "Nothing unpleasant, I hope, for you sound rather grave." "Oh, no, nothing at all. It is only shortly before we left I heard that a sultan of my country is very ill, and the only cure for him is a monkey's heart."
"Poor man, I feel very sorry for him," replied the monkey. "But you are not unwise to tell me that when it started."
"What do you mean?" asked the shark, but the monkey, who now understood the whole plot, did not answer at once, for he was considering what he should say. "Why are you so silent?" inquired the shark again.
I was thinking it was a pity that you did not tell me while I was still on land. Then I could have brought my heart with me."
"Your heart? Why, isn't your heart here?" said the shark, with a puzzled expression.
"Oh, no, of course not. It is possible that you don't know that when we leave home, we always hang up our hearts on trees to prevent their getting troublesome with them. However, perhaps you won't believe that, and will just think that I've invented it because I'm afraid. So let us go in your country as fast as we can, and when we arrive, you can look for my heart, and if you can find it, you can kill me."
The monkey spoke in such a calm, indifferent way that the shark was quite deceived, but began to wish he had not been in such a hurry. "But there is no use of going if your heart is not with you," he said at last. "We had better go back to the town, and then you can fetch it." Of course, this is just what the monkey wanted, but he was careful not to seem too pleased.
"Well, I don't know," he remarked carelessly. "It is such a long way, and you may be right."
"I'm sure I am," said the shark, "and I will swim as quickly as I can." And so he did, and in 3 days they caught sight of the kiri tree hanging over the water. With a sigh of relief, the monkey caught hold of the nearest branch and swung himself up.
"Wait for me here," he called out to the shark. "I am so hungry I must have a little breakfast, and then I will go and look for my heart."
And he went further and further up into the branches so that the shark could not see him. Then he curled himself up and went to sleep. "Are you there?" cried the shark, who was soon tired of swimming under the cliff and was in haste to be gone. The monkey awoke with a start, but did not answer. "Are you there?" cried the shark again, louder than before, but in a very cross voice.
"Oh, yes, I am here," replied the monkey. "But I wish you had not wakened me. I am having such a nice nap."
"Have you got it?" asked the shark. "It is time we are going."
"Going where?" inquired the monkey.
"Why, to my country, of course, with your heart. You can't have forgotten."
"My dear friend," answered the monkey with a chuckle, "I think you must be going a little mad. Do you take me for a washerman's donkey?"
"Don't talk nonsense," exclaimed the shark, who did not like being laughed at. "What do you mean about a washerman's donkey? And I wish you would be quick, or we are too late to save the sultan."
"Did you really never hear of the washerman's donkey?" asked the monkey, who was enjoying himself immensely. "Why, he is a beast who has no heart. And as I am not feeling very well, and am afraid to start when the sun is so high lest I should get a sunstroke, if you like, I will come a little nearer and tell you the story."
"Very well," said the shark sulkily. "If you won't come, I suppose I may as well listen to what is doing." So the monkey began.
"A washerman once lived in a great forest on the other side of town, and he had a donkey to keep him company and to carry him wherever he wanted to go. For a time they got on very well, but by and by the monkey grew lazy and ungrateful to his master's kindness, and ran several miles into the heart of the forest, where she did nothing but eat and eat and eat, till she grew so fat she could hardly move. One day, when she was tasting quite a new kind of grass and wondering if it was good, and what she had for dinner the day before, a hare happened to pass by. 'Well, what is that fat creature?' she thought, and turned out the path and told the news to a lion who was a friend of hers. Now the lion had been very ill and was not strong enough to go hunting by himself, and when the hare came by and told him there was a very fat donkey that was to be found only a few yards off, tears of disappointment and weakness filled his eyes. 'What is the good of telling me that?' he asked in a weepy voice. 'You know I cannot even walk as far as that palm.' 'Well, never mind,' answered the hare briskly. 'If you can't go to your dinner shall come to you.' And nodding farewell to the lion, she went back to the donkey. "Good morning," said she, bowing politely to the donkey, who lifted her head in surprise. "Excuse my interrupting you, but I have come to very important business." "Indeed," answered the donkey. "It is most kind of you to take the trouble. May I inquire what the business is?" "Certainly," replied the hare. "It is my friend the lion who has heard so much of your charms and good qualities that he has sent me to beg you that you will come to give him your paw in marriage. He regrets deeply that he is unable to make the request in person, but he has been ill and so weak to move." "Poor fellow, how sad," said the donkey. "But you must tell him that I feel honored by his proposal, and I will gladly consent to be queen of the beasts." "Will you not come and tell him yourself?" asked the hare. Side by side they went down the road which led to the lion's house. It took a long while, for the donkey was so fat from eating that she could only walk very slowly, and the hare, who could have run the distance in about 5 minutes, was obliged to creep along until she almost dropped with fatigue at not being able to go at her own pace. When at last they arrived at the lion was sitting at the entrance, looking very pale and thin. The donkey suddenly grew very shy and hung her head, but the lion put on his best manners and invited both visitors to come in and make themselves comfortable. Very soon the hare got up and said, "Well, I have a number of engagement, and I will leave you to make acquaintance with your future husband," and then winking to the lion, she bounded away. The donkey expected that as soon as they were left alone, the lion would begin to speak of their marriage, where they should live, but he said nothing but looked up. To her surprise and terror, she saw him crouching in a corner, his eyes glaring with a red light, and with a loud roar he sprang towards her. But in a moment the donkey had time to prepare herself, and jumping on one side, dealt the lion such a hard kick that he shrieked with pain. Again and again he struck at her with his claws, but the donkey could bite too, and was as well as the lion, who was very weak at his illness. And at last the well-planted kick knocked him right over, and he rolled on the floor, groaning in pain. The donkey did not wait for him to get up, and ran away as fast as she could, and was lost in the forest. Now the hare, who knew quite well what would happen, had not gone to do her business, but hid herself in the bushes behind the cave, where she could quite hear the loud sounds of battle. When all was quiet again, she crept up quietly and stole around the corner. "Well, lion, have you killed her?" asked she, running swiftly up to the path. "Killed her indeed," answered the lion sulkily. "It is she who has nearly killed me. I never knew a donkey could kick like that, though I would take care to carry away a few marks with my claws." "Dear me, fancy such a great fat creature being able to fight," cried the hare. "But don't vex yourself, just lie still, and your wounds will soon heal." And she bade her friend goodbye and returned to her family. 2 or 3 weeks passed, and the only bare places the donkey showed back up in the lion's claws had been, while on his side the lion had recovered from his illness and was now as strong as ever. He was beginning to think that it was almost time for him to begin hunting again, and one morning a rustle was heard in the creepers outside, and the hare's head peeped through. "Ah, there is no need to ask how you are," she said. "Still, you mustn't overtire yourself, you know. Shall I go and bring you your dinner?" "If you bring me that donkey, I will tear it in two," cried the lion savagely, and the hare laughed and nodded and went on her errand. This time the donkey was much further than before, and it took longer to find her. At last the hare caught sight of the 4 hooves in the air and ran towards him. The donkey was laying in a soft, cool bed of moss near a stream, rolling herself backwards and forwards with pleasure. "Good morning," said the hare politely, and the donkey slowly got to her legs and looked to see who her visitor was. "Oh, it is you, is it?" she exclaimed. "Come and have a chat. What news have you got?" "I mustn't say," answered the hare, "but I promised the lion to beg you to pay him a visit, as he is not well enough to call on you." "Well, I don't know," replied the donkey gloomily. "The last time he went and scratched me very badly, and I really was quite afraid." "He was only trying to kiss you," said the hare, "and you bit him, and of course he made him cross." "If I were to assume of that," hesitated the donkey. "Well, you may be quite sure," laughed the hare. "I have a large acquaintance among lions, but let us be quick." And rather unwillingly, the donkey set out. The lion saw them coming and hid himself behind a large tree. As the donkey went past, followed by the hare, he sprang out, and with one blow of his paw he stretched the poor creature dead before him. "Take this meat and skin it and roast it," he said to the hare. "But my appetite is not as good as it was, and the only part I want for myself is the heart. The rest you can either eat for yourself or give away to your friends." Thank you, replied the hare, balancing the donkey on her back as well as she was able to, and though the legs trailed along behind her, she managed to drag it into an open space some distance off, where she made a fire and roasted it. As soon as it was cooked, the hare took out her heart, and just as she finished eating it, when the lion, who was tired of waiting, came up. I'm hungry, he said. Bring me the creature's heart. It is just what I want for supper. But there is no heart, answered the hare, looking up to the lion with a puzzled face. What nonsense, said the lion. As if every beast has got a heart. What do you mean? This is washerman's donkey, replied the hare gravely. Well, what is that supposed to be? Oh, fie, exclaimed the hare. You lying to your grown-up person and ask me questions like that? If the donkey had had a heart, she would have been here now. Well, the first time she came, you knew she was trying to kill her and ran away. But she came back a second time. Well, if she had had a heart, she would have come back a second time? Now, would she? And the lion answered slowly, no, she would not. So you think I'm a washerman's donkey, said the monkey to the shark, when the story was ended. You're wrong, I am not. And as the sun is setting low in the sky, it is time that you begin your homeward journey. You'll have a nice cool voyage, and I hope you will find the sultan better. Farewell.
And the monkey disappeared among the trees and branches and was gone.